I'm mixing natural hydraulic lime mortar, in this case NHL 5, for deep work in between an old fieldstone foundation. And I have mixed the 1 part lime to 1.5 part brick sand to 1 part concrete sand together now, and it's pretty smoothly, evenly blended. A couple of things to note here. One is the size of the mix. You know, it's about 4 of those, 3.5 of these all told. So a small batch so that you can work with it and get it into the joints of the stonework before it dries out and before it starts becoming harder to work with. So small batches recommended. And another thing to point out, these are little balls of lime here, little clumps of lime that have just formed naturally in the bag, in the bag of lime. And you want to sort of seek these guys out and just crush them and try to crush and blend in as many of those as you can. The smoother the mix, the better. I don't think you're ever going to get every single one of them, but you know, it's a fairly time-consuming thing if you're doing it by hand like this. But it's a small job, and I'm, you know, not doing this for a living, so got the flexibility to take as long as it needs to take. And so we're ready to add some water. This is a very kind of delicate phase. You want to add a little bit of water at a time so that you can start to bring the lime mortar up to a state of basically an oatmeal, or you know, almost brown sugar, say, or a putty. And it's very, very easy to add too much water and come out with a mixture that in the end doesn't really hold or cure as well. As I understand it, the idea is that if you have too much water, the water expands within the compound and spaces out actually the mortar and the lime and the sand, so that when it does finally set, it's less of a solid structure than it would be if there had been less water. So there's a sort of fine balance, and you can see it starting to ball up here. You know, we're getting there, and this is where you want to be very again, delicate, just adding a little bit at a time. Again, I don't do this for a living, so I'm cautious about putting in too much and wasting all my work on mixing the mortar.